Good afternoon, everybody. It's 1 p.m. on Friday, so that must mean it's time for the Livestream PD. Welcome to everybody who is watching live, and welcome to everybody who watches this asynchronously later on the recording. This week on the LSL Livestream, we will be featuring Eureka Math, What's Working, featuring our very own Kim Jorgensen and Alan Hernandez. But a few reminders and announcements before we get going. Actually, I'm going to go back to this slide. So there was a copy and paste error in the email that you received this week about the live stream that seemed like there was a follow-up that you could register for in OMS. That was actually left over from last week with Ana Cordero's. Kim is not planning on a follow-up session this afternoon starting at 3 the way Ana was. That was totally our fault, a copy and paste error. So just a clarification there. Whoops. A reminder, Good Teaching Conference is coming February 26th on the district-wide PD day. It's for all of us certificated folks. It will be a virtual conference the way LSL Tech Conference was. And yet again, I'm here to encourage you to share anything that you've done that's been great or really functional, or anything that you feel like you've learned. Please submit sessions. I believe we have 40 sessions already submitted. Good Teaching Conference usually and LSL Tech Conference usually have upwards of 60. So we are running a little short. Again, no idea is too small, no gesture is too big. I don't know what that means, but there is the link on the screen, bit.ly/LSL bunch. The A and the B are capitalized. Please, please consider. You can co-present. You will have a moderator. If you can't find one, we'll find one for you. It's really not scary. Your colleagues are really, really thankful, even though you haven't even presented yet. Also, as part of our opening that we like to do in the spring and Good Teaching Conferences, we have these kid booms. Hopefully you remember them from last year. They're, a set of, it's a brief presentation that the kids do. It's set up slides. They're like slides that are sentence stems as well. And it brings student voice in, and it's really great to hear them talking. And this really is available for, all of our students. So hopefully we'll get some more submissions on that. If you have any further questions, you can contact Sally Jameson or Mrs. Onso, who are the co-chairs of the PE committee. Again, as always, any questions you might have about EdTech or problems or support, please email edtech@lsl.org. That goes to the entire department. Also, a reminder that open office hours for drop-in help, for one-on-one help, those are Wednesdays and Thursdays, 1 to 3 p.m. They have their own bit.ly/LSL help. The A and the H are capitalized. Just a reminder that next week, by popular demand, Jordan Selyer will be leading us through a review of, or an overview of Mac OS, so we can really get a better hold on those new iMacs that you guys got. And now, without any further ado, we will transition over to Kim and Alan. So Kim and Alan, go ahead and unmute and take it away. Just start presenting.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Let's see if I can do this right. Alan is with us. He's from Montebello, teaches 4th grade, and I'm going to do the whole presenty thing, I think. A tab.
We see you, Cam. Looks good.
Oh, okay. Full screen. Can't see my notes. I keep forgetting that's not going to work. Okay, we're going to have to fake it then. Alrighty, so just this says lesson demo in quotes because it's really still a work in progress. I've been working with the Montebello 4th grade team, and Alan volunteered his classroom for me to come in to see if we could get the whole Eureka math lesson into the time that they are allowed to use and for math. And I've been told that, yes, you can use the entire time synchronously. So that's what we did. It took probably, Alan, you can remind me, how, a week, 2 weeks?
It was about 2 weeks. 2 weeks of being in there.
To get it under control, we started with probably like 2 hours at a time because there was a lot of routine training to do, and every day it got a little shorter and a little shorter, and that was kind of like a reward for the kids until we got it down to within the, is it 75 minutes you have, Alan?
Yep, 75.
Okay, so so then Alan took it away and has been working on it, and we got some video from his class, and we're going to share that with you. And we just want you to remember that this is still a work in progress.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely. Sorry, Kim, go ahead.
no, go on.
Yeah, so it's a lot smoother than it was in the beginning. It was kind of rough. I remember when Kim first brought up the idea of doing a full Eureka lesson in remote, and she said 75 minutes. I was like, Kim, you are out of your mind right now. You're wild. Why are you doing this to me? It's remote. Why are you making my life harder? But it actually does. It takes some time, but it is possible to do it. And mostly the reason I want to do it was to increase participation. I know it's maybe I have experienced maybe a lot of blank screens and a lot of muted mics, which is a challenge we all face. So trying to do things to combat that and to make learning more effective.
And we made some interesting discoveries along the way. So this little slide is not fancy. It was, we just wanted to kind of touch back with last week's wonderful presentation from Anna, that your intentions for presentation, your lesson objectives need to be connected with your success criteria. And when you focus your lesson on that, it is easier to get the lesson in the time, and it's easier to get results from it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So here are our components for Eureka Math. You recognize them at this point. Independent practice, I kind of added on. We used to call it homework, but everything's homework now. So this would be the independent practice part. This is what we're going to go through. Here we go. So since it presents full screen, I can no longer see my notes. And I don't have a printer at home.
Kim, just take it out of full screen for a second if you need your notes.
So now, but you can't see it, right?
Well, it's just the number one in the word fluency, so.
But I mean, do you see the whole slide deck or just that one slide?
No, we see the whole slide deck.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So if you need your notes, maybe you should review your notes and then go ahead and put it back into present and then carry on.
We'll just try it. Because there's a way to make it go down into a window, but it won't do that for me. All right, so Fluency is supposed to be the warm-up and practice, and what, Alan, you were doing before was you were doing the Fluency and recording the lesson, correct?
Yes. So the concept of Alan was being recorded, and we would do the Fluency as kind of as a warm-up, and then review just quickly the concept video they had to watch, and then just spend a lot of the time doing the problem set.
And how well did they do on the problem set when they were on their own for watching the lesson?
Wasn't really pretty. Not a lot of good results from that.
So what we suggested was that we try to do the Fluency asynchronously. There are usually 3 Fluency activities recommended. One of them usually has to do with the lesson, or one of them is new. So we decided to do just the one that has to do with the lesson with the kids synchronously, and either push out recordings or little videos for them to do asynchronously on their own for Fluency practice. And this is our little video, and Alan is going to annotate it, narrate it as we go, kind of.
So lesson 10, we're going to continue practicing those equivalent fractions using division. So let's go ahead and practice with this warm-up. Everybody should have this area model. And on this area model, I want you guys to go ahead and shade in 2 parts. And 2 parts are shaded. So what fraction do we have here, Esther?
A half. It's 2,
Uh-huh.
and then a line, then a 4. 2
All right, so how
4.
do you 2/4? Yep, good job. So I want everybody to write this down because we're going to come up with a division sentence to show equivalent fractions.
So I'm just going to stop that for a minute.
Yeah.
Alan, why did you pick this particular, why did you, of the 3 that were there, why did you pick this one to do with them?
So I picked this one specifically because it was I noticed in the previous lesson they struggled a little bit with this one, and in kind of like the vignette or whatever, it just tells you this is a review from this previous lesson. So I wanted to kind of focus on that one to give a little quick review.
And it was going to be critical for the lesson of today.
Yep.
So we have 2/4. We're going to go ahead and make a division sentence. Robert, what fraction is going to go on the left side?
2/4.
Yep, 2/4, because we're taking our starting fraction and we're just moving it over here. 2/4. So I want you to circle the area model. You remember how I did yesterday? We circled our parts, our composed parts, to find out what you have to divide by. So go ahead and do that. All right, I see some of you got it. Good job, Emma.
Again, can we pause
Good
right there?
job, Esteban.
Paused.
Yeah. So so when I scroll down, a lot of the students can see, you know, all their work. It's more for me to see that to check that active participation. Because prior we were only using just, you know, whiteboards and they would kind of hold it up. There's a lot of issues with that I'm sure maybe a lot of you have encountered. If you do that, you know, oh, I don't have my pen, I don't have my whiteboard, I can't see what you're writing. I didn't bring my stuff with me because I'm at my babysitters. So this whiteboard fee was just a way to help have more accountability and the increased participation. And then kids could also, and I always tell them, hey, I can see what work you're doing. The downside to that, sometimes when I scroll, they can sometimes see other students' answers. And I've noticed that sometimes students will kind of look there to see what other kids are doing to kind of maybe like copy it. So a way around that I've had is I just open up that same whiteboard on a separate tab, and I use that one for my scrolling to check. So that way kids can't see.
Good job, Isabella. Keep going. You set it up right. Good job, Natalie. Good job, Vanessa Blancarte.
And that's what I'm doing right now as I call them out because
And
I'm
it's
looking at another tab.
And it's a lot easier for you to see it immediately instead of waiting for them to type something in the chat or speak up.
Yeah, because we tried doing waterfall or just all kinds of other things. It just kind of took longer.
Good job, Robert. Kevin. Are you there, Kevin?
Yes.
All right, Kevin. So what am I going to divide by here?
2.
Yeah, by 2. How'd you know it was 2?
Because there's only like 2 of those things.
Yeah, so
Right.
yeah, there's only, so you could look at it like that. So you could look at it, in a number of ways. You can circle this, the shaded part, and you can see that there's 2 of them.
Okay, so on we go.
Lesson 10, we're going to
Oh,
continue
nope.
practicing.
Stop. There. So that was just one way to do the fluency part, and this is a plug for one of Veronica and I are doing sessions at the GTC, and we're going to do one on different ways that you can do fluency asynchronously using a choice board to link the kids up to those things. Kids are more likely to do stuff when they have some choice as to how they're going to do it, and that will be at the GTC. Hope to see you there. So the application problem we don't have a little video on. This is their time to think. And the important thing about the application problem, it can get really out of hand and eat up all of your time. Alan, have you found that to be true?
Yeah, I have had that happen, especially when I noticed that a lot of kids just didn't get it. It kind of just makes me want to spend time reviewing it to make sure they get it. So there has been some lessons where I notice my clock or on my timer that it's eating up a lot of time.
So with the application problem. It's a matter of balance. If it's a brand new thing that you're learning at the beginning of a module, you're going to want to model it for them and just do it as a modeling lesson. And near the end of those new things, you're going to turn them loose and have them have a go at it. The part where we have the most trouble is getting the balance in between those, getting to the guided practice, where you're not doing it all for them, but you're not just saying, go, just try it, don't bug me, just, it's the in-between part that's the hardest. So I'm going to show, I want to show you how to get through the gist. These are the parts that you want them to do in this order. Understand what's happening in the problem. They need to make some kind of a visual. From the visual, they need to make an equation. And from the equation, they make their written response. And when they get stuck, you can ask them guiding questions instead of either leaving them alone or telling them exactly how to do it. So here we go. So here's our application problem for this lesson. And it's really easy to get this confused. He spent 9/12 of his money on a book, but then we have to see how much money he spent on the pencil. If you're not paying attention, you figure out the pencil at 9/12 instead of at the 3/12, because that's the number you see. And you know you've been doing equivalent fractions, so whatever that question is, the answer is going to be the equivalent fraction of that number if you're not paying attention to exactly what the setup is in the problem. So you want them to get it set up, and number bonds are your friend. They are always your friend. You have some bunch of money and you spent 9/12 of it on a book. Because you spent 9/12, you know that our whole is going to be 12ths. So that's what they want to do first. They want to set up their number bond and go, oh, I see. So I spent this much on the pencil. Once you've got this set up, then you can go down to the first part of the question. How much money is spent on the pencil? Oh, but in fourths. So now you get to do the equation, which you've been practicing this. This is lesson 10. So they've been working on equivalent fractions for about 10 lessons now. So now we're doing the little mathy bits. And then you come up with a statement. Then we go down to B and do the same thing again with the dollar. But if you just say, if they get in the habit of only looking at the numbers, they will often miss the way the problem has been set up for them. They need to draw some kind of visual first. I know adults who go for the numbers first and make this mistake. Concept development. We now have a fairly long video. No, it is not 75 minutes, I promise. We got it down to 8. This was the concept development from this lesson. And Alan is going to just let me know if to pause for anything here. This is where you address the learning target.
Now, the cool thing about this, you're going to draw an area model, but you can do it any way you want as long as you have 10/12 showing. So yeah, some of you are doing just the regular way straight down. That's fine. Some of you are making groups. That's also fine. As long as you have 10/12 showing. I'm going to do 2 different ones so you guys can see how it works. Some of you are doing where it's all just going up and down. That's totally fine. And then we're shading in 10. I saw some kids did this way.
I remember what I wanted to say here. Eureka Math, every lesson has at least 3 problems in the order of the one you're going to discuss the longest and basically show them how to do it, because the kids are still trying to figure out what it is you want them to do. The second problem is I'm going to verify what the teacher just showed me, so I make sure that I am on the right track. I'm not real confident, but I'm seeing it again and I recognize it as what I just did. And then the third one is, okay, I think I've got it now. I can't really do it by my own on my own yet, but I don't have to wait for the teacher to keep prodding me. So this is the first problem of this lesson. So Alan is going to be really walking them through it.
And they got 12s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I'm missing one more. So some kids did it this way, where they just cut it in half and they shaded in 10. That also works.
And at this point, the kids are able to copy exactly what he's doing. Alan, do you have anything else to say here before I go on?
No, I should. No, not really. This part's kind of usually straightforward for right now.
Okay.
So I see people who have done it one way of these and then the other way, and that's totally fine. Vanessa Plancarte, double check and count how many parts you have.
Okay.
So you make 12, and then we could shade it.
See how easy that was for him to see that someone had misunderstood something and just fix it right there. Not telling her. I'm sorry, say it, Alan.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just gonna ask you to pause it because I was gonna make that same comment. So this is when I have in my second monitor. This is where I have them. I can see their work on my own separate view, and that's where I can do just that quick, just that checking, as if I was walking in the classroom.
In. So let's go ahead and make a division sentence for both of these area models. So I want to show you guys how even if you did them different, you still get the same answer. Oh my goodness. Isabella, are you there?
Yes.
All right. What fraction is going to go on the left side of our equations?
Oh,
10,
Kim, could you
12.
pause real quick?
Yep, 10.
So if you notice on the bottom of this whiteboard, I have a bunch of pages already kind of spread out. This is just helpful to kind of prep the lesson. That's what I do kind of just the morning of, just kind of go through based on what I've, read of the lesson and pick the things that are going to fit the objective the best, because I don't have time. Well, there's not a lot of time to cover everything. So I have to be really targeted in what I'm going to cover. And the cool thing about this is I can push out these pages. Some pages may require students to do it themselves. Sometimes the area model is already done for them. And so it's just an easy way of being it done, push it out to everybody, or single pages, all pages. So this is really great for this sort of activity.
12, that's our starting one. Now I'm going to show you guys a strategy you can do to solve this. So can somebody tell me, how many groups could I make? Let's go ahead and Johnny, can you tell me how many groups I could possibly make?
How many groups we can
Yeah.
make?
All right, so I'll give you a hint. We can start by doing 2 groups, and if then that doesn't work, we can go to 3 groups. So we'll make sure that there were 2 in a group. So I want everybody to go ahead, whichever area model you have, circle that you have 2 in a group.
It's 5.
Yeah, so let's see if we can make those even groups. Circle 2, circle 2, circle 2, circle 2. How many do we have in a group, Ethan? How many shaded are in a group?
In a group, there are 2 shaded parts.
Yep. So that means we divide by 2. So for this strategy, we're dividing by the number of shaded parts. So there are 2 in each group, so we can divide. So Esteban, what's 10 divided by 2?
10 divided by 2 is 5.
Is 5. So that is indeed 10 divided by 2 is 5. But what about, what's going to be 12 divided by 2, Johnny?
12 divided by 2.
So remember, you can skip count by the number you're dividing by.
Divided by 6.
Yep, it's going to be 6. Okay, you guys, that was our first problem. We're going to take a 5-minute break. Again, do not leave the meet. The meeting is not over. We're not done with math. It's a 5-minute break.
Could you pause? Yeah. So one thing that's super important is, since in the beginning we were doing 30-minute blocks of just sync work, and their brain needs a break. especially because now we are about maybe 30 minutes into the lesson, maybe 40. So, you know, having those breaks if you're going for those longer times, super essential. You're muted, Kim. Yeah, you're muted. Check the mic.
Kim, go to Google Meet and unmute yourself.
You're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, let's try this again. Yes. Nope. I am presenting. Let me go back to here and go back to here. And of course, it wants to go
Now,
back.
the cool thing about this, you're going to have 6 shaded.
Okay, here we go. So the other thing before, when they were working on small bits of time, it was...
All right, you guys, so we're going to continue here.
They would have a long break, and then the kids wouldn't come back.
Godzilla movies, what they used to look like. I just muted.
Right, Alan?
Yeah, I just show them funny videos during the break sometimes. And anyway, so yeah, seems like. Sorry, Kim, one more time.
I'm sorry. So before, before we tried to extend the time, if you tried to cut up the math lesson into smaller pieces, you'd have them for the first piece, and then they wouldn't come back for the second half of the lesson.
It wasn't that they were coming back for the second half of the lesson. It's just that they were in groups. We would alternate with group A and group B. So it was just a much more limited time. And so not enough of the materials being covered.
So he gives them a break, and I think putting these little videos in helps make them come back because they want to see them.
All right, you guys, so we're going to continue here. So everybody make a 6/10 area model, however you want to do it. So let me see. So I see some kids did it kind of the same as last time. So 6/10. So I'm going to do it 2 ways again. I'm going to make tenths. So my 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, decomposed. And I'm going to have 6 shaded. So I see some kids did it that way. Angel has it that way. Eileen, Esther, Esteban, Giovanni, Vanessa Plancarte, she's got the old one up there. And then some kids did it where, so some kids are doing it like they're just making it into 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Gotta make one more. So we're gonna do it again. We're gonna shade it in. All right, so I see some kids are already making their division sentence. Awesome. So as always, you have your starting fraction.
Yeah.
Okay, so Victor, how many shaded parts are there?
Kim, could you pause real quick?
1,
Yep.
2.
So, you know, as I'm doing it, I'm scrolling. I can still see maybe some kids they're still not participating. So that's kind of just like a note I would take, you know, especially I'm doing like class dojo points, or maybe I've messaged the parents, like end of the week kind of thing, like they weren't participating. And then I can have that, I know when it was during that time. And like, there's proof because these lessons are recorded and they're posted. So it's just a nice way of more accountability.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
And just one group, Victor, one group that we circled in red. How many shaded parts are there?
right here.
And how many are there shaded in a group that we circled?
1, 2, 3,
Just one group. How many are shaded?
2.
2. Yep. So there are 2 in a group, so we can divide by 2. Can anyone tell me what's 6 divided by 2? You can just go ahead and say it. What's 6 divided by 2?
Can I count by twos?
Yeah, you can do that.
2, 4,
3.
3. Yep. Can anybody just say what's 10 divided by 2? Just go ahead and say it.
5.
5. Yep. So we have 3/5, which is true. So I'm going to push out a new blank page.
Okay, so that one that he did was the second one, which went faster than the first one because he was more asking them questions instead of just saying this is how to do it. This is the third one. This one will go even a little bit faster.
And you're going to do the same thing again, this time with 8/12. So go ahead and draw your own area model with 8/12. You can draw them in different styles. All that matters is that you have your 8/12 on there. So you could do it any way you want your area model. Okay, and
Now, as he's scrolling down, you'll find more and more kids are keeping up and having more confidence at doing this than they did from the beginning one, which they would like have a box and kind of sit there and wait. They're really able to have more confidence about getting into this. The joys of the third problem.
I'm looking at different kids' area models, and you can see how they did it. And you can shade it in different parts. That's fine as long as you have your 8/12. I know Natalie and Justin, they did it the regular way. That also works. Maybe that's easier for your brain. Whichever way works for you.
Yeah, I was gonna try it the other way, but then I didn't get how to do it, so I just did it the way I knew best.
Yep, that works.
Mrs. Hernandez, just make a 6, then just draw a line in the middle.
Yeah, you could do that because half of 12 is 6. So if you make your 6, decompose it, you get 12. Exactly right.
So you could hear there two kids are getting confident enough where they are just going to let you know the things that they have discovered in this lesson.
Kevin, some of you did that with tenths. You drew 5 first, then decomposed it to double it. So looking at the whiteboard, I can see a lot of kids have their division sentence set up. Okay, that works. So Gabby, how many should be in a group, Gabby? How many should I circle in a group?
2.
Yeah, we can do 2. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna do 2 shaded in a group. You can circle the empty ones as well. For some kids, that might make sense because you can see, oh, I have a total of these many groups. So Brianna, how many total groups do we have?
6.
6. How many shaded groups are there? How many of the circle shaded groups are there? 4. So our answer is 4, 6. Maybe that way works better for you. Just circling them in 2s and then counting your total and then counting your shaded. Or maybe your brain is, you know your facts, so you're ready to go. You know that there are 2 shaded in a group, so you could divide by 2. So there are different ways of doing this strategy.
So Alan, were there anything else on that little cheat sheet I gave you to tell them?
No, you pretty much covered it. This lesson was pretty straightforward. We kind of laid the foundation for it in the previous lesson. So this is more just like round 2 of it and kind of getting a faster build up.
And would you have skipped this lesson if they did well last time, or do you think this one was important to do?
Oh no, I wouldn't have skipped it. They still need that constant just attempt at understanding, not mastery, but understanding of it. Especially remote, the more they can get that chance, the better.
Okay.
Now the cool thing about this, you're gonna.
Oh, we have another. So in case you're wondering what that thing is that he keeps using, it's called Whiteboard FI, and it is not an officially district supported tool, but it has been in some of the EdTech liaison after school meets. And Veronica and I are going to present a session on it during the Good Teaching Conference. So we invite you to join us there, and we'll tell you all the neat tricks that Alan was using to be able to see his kids almost as if he were walking around the classroom.
Yeah, so if you're really big on technology and the kind of that usage and incorporating as much as possible and trying to increase participation, this could help with that. I know it's helped specifically, with the more participation in my classroom.
And you don't have to be terribly afraid of it. There is no rostering, no student data is kept, and it's fairly easy for the kids to figure out how to use.
Yeah, it took them about 2 days to just get it, and then they were good to go after that.
Okay, so after you've done the main part of the lesson comes the problem set. And I think of it as practice for some and support for others. Alan, you've kind of been doing it with the whole class, right?
Yes, I would do it the whole class and then have my smaller groups during our small group time. So I used to trying to cram like that small group work in the 75-minute block was challenging, especially with remote. Everything just takes longer. So fitting that in just didn't work out, and I had to just do that separately outside.
So if you do it with the whole class, it is like you're doing more of the concept development. And the kids who are confident and know what they're doing, they've already started to lose it. So one thing you can do is you can assign a separate set of problems from the problem set to the children who are ready to go and need a bit of a challenge, and they can go do it on their own. Then during the problem set time, you can still work with the students who need the support, work them through the problem set as though it were an extension of the concept development, just them without the kids who know what they're doing always shouting out the answers. And we have a small, very, very tiny one here.
We're going to try this without an area model. And the way you do it is by thinking of factors.
I remember this particular problem is something that is on the exit ticket, but wasn't really done that much. I think it was the 4th problem in the problem set in the concept development. So here they have the fraction and they have to do it kind of like, here's a fraction, now you need to find the equivalent fraction. So since this is on the exit ticket, it's a good one to do with, even if you're going to split up your group, you can do this one with the whole class and then send the kids who know what they're doing off to go do their own set of problem set things, and then work with the easier ones with the kids who still need support.
So let's think about the number 4. What numbers can we multiply to get 4?
2 times 2.
2 times 2. So 4, I'm going to do them here on the side. So 2 times 2, what's another number I can multiply to get 4? So someone said 4. What's another number they have in common, Brianna?
They have in common.
Here in the factors. So 4 they have in common. What's another number they have in common?
3.
So is there a number 3 in there? So what do they have the same? What does number 4 and number 8 have in same?
Oh, I see it. Can I see it?
Hold on. I'm gonna give Brianna a chance.
2.
Yeah, 2. Okay, so that means we can divide by the number 2 or the number 4. So let's pick the number 4 since it's the bigger one. What's going to be 4 divided by 4, Jackie? What's 4 divided by 4, Jackie? We're going to try this without an...
Now, this is the part, Alan, that you're having the most difficulty with, right?
Yeah. It's trying to get in, because sometimes I can see that they're still struggling in the concept development, and I just kind of want to push it a little bit longer. But then, the debrief gets kind of cut out, and I'm sure that's a common thing that a lot of people have experienced.
Yes. And the importance of the debrief is that it's the part where you make the learning stick, because when you have to explain something to somebody else, it gets more organized in your own brain. So I have a, sorry. Whoops. So this was from the problem set, but it kind of ended up being like a little debrief how a debrief might go.
All right, so Natalie, how many do I need to shade in?
You need to shade in 4.
I need to shade in 4, yep. And you can shade
So
up
this is Natalie who's going to explain how she does this problem.
however you want, as long as they're next to each other. So I'm gonna do it like this.
I shaded them like in a square.
Yeah, or you square, it doesn't matter. You can shade it however, as long as they're next to each other. So you don't want to do this. You don't want to like shade some and then put some over here and then some right here. They have to be next to each other.
Because then you can't circle them together.
Yep. Your groups come out wrong. So what do I do?
So one of the easiest ways to do the debrief is as soon as you finish the problem set, however they're showing you their work, whether they're holding it up to the camera or whether they're turning it in on something, you can see it and you can select a student and say, I see that you did a really nice job on this problem, or a different way, you had a different way of doing it, whatever, to get them to put it up on the screen and they can explain how they did it. That's the easiest, simplest way for you to do it. Maybe not the most effective for the kids, but it's a way to get started.
Next, Natalie.
You circle them. I did it by 2, so I put 2 in a group.
How did you know to do it by 2s?
Because at the top it says 4 divided by 2, and I looked at my other problems and I just put 2 in because on my other ones it would be 3 circled if it was something divided by 3.
Whoops. And just by asking her why she did certain things
so Natalie,
and how she came up with stuff.
Yeah.
all right, did you do this in your workbook or did you do this in your workbook?
Not on my workbook exactly, but I'm doing it on a piece of paper.
All right, can you show me your piece of paper?
Yeah. It is.
So actually that was the end of that one. That one didn't get cut off where it was
So
supposed
right
to.
now, everybody, if you're doing this on the whiteboard or on your workbook or piece of paper, hold up your workbook or your piece of paper so I can see. Everybody hold up your work.
And Veronica and I are also doing how to do a debrief, building math discourse at the GTC. Different ways to do it. Yes, shameless advertising. So the last thing on the list that you do with them is the exit ticket. And this is where you try to meet your success criteria. Alan, how do you do your exit ticket?
I do it synchronously with them.
And so where do you put it for them to find?
So they have it on Seesaw.
And do you release it to them early or only when it's time to do it?
I release it to them a few minutes prior to when the lesson ends. Just because I've had it, set early, and then some kids will just do it because they know they have this Seesaw activity they have to complete. So they just will, just do it. And sometimes it's incorrect. So I kind of had to just wait till later on in the lesson.
And how much time do you give them?
Anywhere from I know the it says 3-4 minutes, but really like 3-4 minutes, not really a lot sometimes. So maybe between 5-7, depending on the difficulty of it.
So what we did in Alan's class when we were working this out is I would give it to them for the last 5 minutes. I would release it to them before their break, their big break. And they had 5 minutes, and they all had to stay there for that 5 minutes. And once the 5 minutes was over and they had turned it in, they were gone. They could leave. The students who hadn't finished it were allowed to take 5 more minutes of their break time to finish it, and then they could go. And after that, I just closed it because we weren't going to sit there all day. But some children need a little more think time, and this way it wasn't eating into our math time, and it wasn't making the kids who knew what they were doing have to sit and wait. So that was our compromise. And we didn't have a video for that because you just see Seesaw and more of the same. So as I check the time, I didn't stop for any questions. Well, we're almost done. Then there can be questions. This is the very
all the questions we have so far you answered when you told everybody that the tool was Whiteboard FI, and although it is not district supported, it is perfectly fine to use.
Okay, yes. I did remember to put in the disclaimer. So independent practice, what can they do at home? I mean, well, it's all at home. What can they do away from the synchronous learning that can help them cement what's going on? Basically, what we generally call homework. So what we have, this is a chance for them to build some confidence. And look at that. Veronica and I are going to do a 4th presentation at the GTC on asynchronous engagement using Edpuzzle, where you can take the in-sync video lesson and put it through Edpuzzle and add questions in it that stop the video, where the children must answer it so that they can go on to the video. And that way you will have a record of how well they did. Another thing that you can do is you can use the in-sync. Well, this is something you could have done with the problem set. They can do it on their whiteboard. They can do it with Whiteboard Fee. They can also do it with the fillable PDFs, which I am still trying to make sure if they work or not. So you don't have to have them all holding up their whiteboards, or just if you have them do the problem set on their own time, they don't necessarily do it, or somebody else does it for them. So those were just other ideas for the problem set. But independent practice, yes, you can use Edpuzzle for the in-sync video. You can put them on Zern. How is Zern going, Alan?
It's going good right now. The beginning, not so much.
So what do you mean by not so much?
Well, the issue of just kids, you weren't used to completing it. So a lot of times I had to spend, maybe some class time, just like everybody log on to Zern, let's walk through it. But once the kids started being more active and doing it, I've heard multiple times in class, hey, this is like what we talked about, or they did this in Zern. So it does give them that extra practice that they need to build that confidence.
Yes, in fact, one of the little bits I did cut out was one of the little boys piping up and saying, yeah, that's just like, in Zern, they taught us it was a different way to do it. And he kind of explained it right there. So that was exciting, but I didn't want to keep us on the video for too long. So those are 2 things that popped to mind to review what they did in class. Well, it's still kind of fresh in their mind, and yet the Zern is much more fun. If you have a student who is not doing the Zern and really needs the help, you can do the in-sync videos with Edpuzzle. And there is always Prodigy, which is not a put them on the computer and let them go thing. If you're going to do Prodigy, you do have to make assignments so that it stays within what you want them to be doing. Okay, so that's all I've got. Alan, was there anything else you wanted to say? I didn't mean to do all the talking.
No, that's okay. You hit a lot of the notes that I was going to say. I think the big thing, this is still a work in progress and will continue to be. As I just become more familiar with incorporating Whiteboard Fee into my classroom and figuring out, how to best adapt it into remote. So every week it's kind of like changing a little bit in terms of its usage.
And do you think your kids have gotten used to the long time?
Oh yeah, it's not an issue in the beginning. They just be like, "Oh, when's this over? When's our break?" And I don't really hear those anymore.
No, in fact, when I was listening to all of the video, they actually sounded pretty chipper.
That 75 minutes may seem like a lot, but it's definitely doable if that's something you are interested in doing to help cover more of the material.
And I know it's 75 minutes for 4th grade. I don't remember what the minutage is for the lower grades for math. But the more you have them doing stuff away from you instead of with you, the less you are a better teacher than anything on a computer. So just something to think about. Yes, that is my soapbox speech for the day that you have heard a million times. And now we're open for any questions.
Kim, only one question has come in after besides regarding the tool you used. And it has to do with, and I believe maybe she'll have to kind of chime in, but Miss Cameron says, can you review which reports best to use? And I'm wondering if that's with Zern. I don't know what reports she may be referring to. I'm not familiar with Zern so much. So what reports she might be talking about.
That sounds like Zern. Karen, you can, yes, email me. We're not doing a Zern thingy at the GTC.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody else will be. I'll see if I can find a victim who wants to do that. So I am going to send out a email to everybody with a time that we can, that I will be open to, that I'll have a meet so we can talk more about this if you have questions. And if you think that your grade level would want to have a go at this, let me know. It wasn't terribly painful, wasn't Alan?
No, it wasn't that bad in hindsight.
It was a little scary at first.
It was touch and go, a little hairy there, but you know, it wasn't that bad. We all survived. You know, yeah, we made it through.
And they're doing much better.
Compared to prior, yeah. Biggest thing I've noticed is just more increase in participation, which is a thing I really wanted a lot more of.
Okay, well then, I guess this is the first time I've actually finished early at anything. I will stop presenting now.
You have just given your colleagues the gift of time, Kim. Everybody says thank you. They got 10, well, 8, I guess, minutes back. So first off, I would like to say thank you so much to Kim, but especially to Alan, Mr. Hernandez, thank you for coming on and sharing your classroom experience here. I know that teachers always find that hearing from their colleagues who've actually put it into practice is so valuable. So that's also maybe a little hint out there to teachers who have had some success, who maybe want to work with your coach or one of the TOSAs to put together something for either GTC, or maybe work with your ETL for a tech club, or who knows, maybe you can come to the big show of the Livestream PD, which, like, I don't really believe that. I just I'm joking around. But thank you so much for coming. We really appreciated you joining in, Alan. Kim, thank you as always. And to the 110 or so people who are watching live, as we say at the end of every Friday, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and be good to our kids. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Alan.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, guys.